Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm Vitaly and today we will talk about brushes. I have decided to make relatively short video about watercolor brushes. Of course I will not be able to cover all of them, mostly just the ones that I'm using myself, and I just can't see any reason to use any other, and I will show you what I use for which tasks. Each one of them is good. And okay, let's start. Mostly mostly it's a wrong word. I would say all of my brushes except for the one are round brushes. Don't be confused by like amount of the brushes here, because some of them I never use, some of them intended to be for my live classes which I give to students. I myself constantly have maybe 4-5 brushes, but I will just show you different types, different shapes, different quality of hair they made of. First, all of them from Japan. They're all Japanese made. It also kind of a point, because Japanese products, art products, not so widely available on the market in Europe, in America and Canada, as I know. We have loads of European brands. I only have this brush here. I just kind of go a little bit, jump forward a bit. This one made by Raphael, and that was, I specifically keep it to show you what not to buy. This is the worst ever. The build quality, the hair, like it doesn't even make like, you know, pointy tip, but the one of the worst like qualities of this brush is the build quality. See these like tips of the wire that hold this plastic here. They always tend to lift up, and sometimes you can even hurt yourself. So that, I know you're supposed to hold it like this, but sometimes, like when you just you know, handle it, so that is just, I don't know, I never use it ever. You can compare it with the Japanese stuff, that like you see the all these wire bits, they so neatly done. There is no way you can hurt yourself with this. Some of the brushes, the big one, they even have an extra sleeve of the plastic to cover these wires, and you know, not this one, but that one has. Okay, so be very, like, especially for this type of brushes, be very careful when you pick them. The quality, build quality is important for them. So these three are Japanese, this one European Raphael, which is goes to, I just can discard it, even rubbish, you know. So these are very well built, and we will talk about this later on more, you know, specifically. So that is no good, goes to the bin. Let's start from the brushes that would be considered the cheapest and most affordable for beginner. They're not actually made of synthetic hair. This is something less traditional for European market, but absolutely fine for Japanese traditional brushes. They made of horse hair. They use hair from the horse belly. You know, these are absolutely fine, like brushes, very cheap, very affordable. Build quality is fine. Company called Nomura, so from Tokyo. They comes in different sizes, they come in different qualities. So in here, for instance, I have they color coded. So the orange ones, I believe, the cheapest, then these kind of deep red and green. So they're all different quality, different sizes, but still they are round brushes because of the shape of this thing, round. So that's the thing. It doesn't mean like this thing is supposed to be round. We're talking about that shape, circular. The only like I wouldn't say bad thing about them, you always need to, when you use them, when they're wet, they don't form a pointy tip. So you always have to kind of form it with your hand like this. But still, it holds enough water. So let's do something. You can load it with paint quite easily and it works absolutely fine. You can make like even fine lines with this. I mean, relatively, it depends on the size of the brush. So these are absolutely fine for beginners. Tested with my students like for years, and especially with the younger children. So you kind of have value and quality balance. Not expensive, long lasting, and at the same time providing good enough, decent level of qualities, so that even for beginner they will be absolutely fine. So from my knowledge, only this company, maybe something else, but I only found them from Nomura company, these horse hair brushes. As I said, they're not expensive. I believe, say, this number 8, so this is the price, 570 yen, which equals about $5 or something. So this one about $9, that maybe 7 or something like that. So these are nice brushes. I would recommend for beginner, round brushes like this. Then we will move towards the more advanced brushes for like general purpose, and them also round brushes. So let's have them. I would kind of split them in 3 categories based on hardness of the hair. All of them are synthetic. The big ones, the imitation of natural hair. For instance, these two is imitation of squirrel. These two. This one, they are very soft. This one is more, it's a little bit stiffer, but same shape, and it's synthetic sable, imitation of sable. And these 3 are very stiff, and they are just pure synthetic. They're not imitation of anything. It's just very nice, high quality fibers used in these brushes. These, especially that one, they similar quality, company called Art Age. All of them except this one is again Nomura, as you can see. And I will show you which one is for what purpose. Again, just to wrap it up, all of them round. They differ only in sizes, obviously, and the softness of the hair. So these are sable, soft, tend to take more water, more material, so they created for washes. These something in between squirrel and stiff synthetic sable kind of universal brush. I will show you how it works. And these very stiff for glazing. Now let's see how each one of them work. I will take this one. The big brushes like this, they also good for, say, applying water to the surface of the paper, because we need sometimes make it wet. Say, make this shape, and I will wet inside it, because it takes loads of water, this brush. Okay, and say we will apply some water to this. Imagine this is your background or something that you need to cover basically large surfaces. Then we load it with some paint. It takes loads of paint, loads of material, and we can introduce paint to our surface. Like this. Okay, so basically that is for large washes. The smaller one also work same way. Let's load it, and you can paint away with this, and you can create fine edges. Of course, maybe some mixes like that. Soft brush, normal soft brush. Now that thing, which is supposed to be some sort of in the middle between soft and hard brushes, it takes also loads of material, but it more stiffer, and you can paint finer lines with this, because you see the tip, and also create larger washes. But it's not so soft, it doesn't release paint so easily, so you can have more control over your strokes or whatever with this brush. Sometimes you need it. Of course, there is not like this, like say list of application for each brush. You need to test it yourself, which one is right for you based on your maybe experience. Maybe start with the something and then go from this. Okay, right. Now let's, as you can see, I have changed the work surface, and now we will talk about stiffer brushes, the ones that when I said I'm using for glazing and fine works, and it also another purpose to them. But before I will demonstrate how this works, I will paint this strange shape with some colors, say using this brush this brush, kind of paint, will paint all area. I will use orange paint. We'll mix it with red. So now I will create enough material to load this brush, and then I will paint. So I'm kind of creating a background for my future glazing. As you can see, this brush gives me enough control around the edges. Like that. Okay. So using the tip, I can adjust the edges. I think I meant this to be a maple leaf. Imagine this. Okay. Now I need this to dry. No, while it's not completely dry, I will show you how this thing works. For instance, if I need to remove some amount of paint here, it's usually done with the dry brush. So this is the soft brush. Like I show you the difference between this, how it works with the soft brush and the stiff brush. So if I want to move it, like at some stage, the softness of the brush stops me from the having the control over this area that I want to clean. For instance, it always gets kind of weird shape, so I don't like it. It doesn't work good for when you need to clean up some areas. For this purpose, only stiff brushes are the tool. Okay, so it doesn't change shape, it always gets back. It's kind of springs back again, and you can easily control everything when you're trying to remove extra paint for whatever purpose you need to do it. Now I would like to dry it using my and we will do that procedure once again. I mean, with the wiping some paint that could be used for creating highlights, or maybe working with some mistake. Mistakes, errors. I won't be bothered now about the quality of the wash. I have created to see all these bad things. Now, if you're facing dry paint and you need to remove something, wash off, maybe, as I said, to create a highlight or whatever, again, I will show you how it works with the soft brush. So this is the soft brush. I will wet it slightly, and I will try to wipe something, and I struggle with this. You see, it always kind of, it does the work, but not as much as I would like to have it, because I have no control over the stain. So when we get back to a stiff brush, wet it slightly, and I'll try to remove it. I can make this spot of absolutely different shape, size, and whatever. So remember, for this sort of tasks, you need stiffer brush. This is the first field of use for the stiff brush. But as you know, there is like different ways of techniques of painting. Some people like loose painting, sometimes like whatever. I don't want to even go to that list of different techniques. What I do, I usually work in layers, many of layers. So it's like a glazing. So usually when I paint, I'm creating some sort of underpaint and then build up gradually everything that I need to do. And for this purpose, only stiff brushes actually working. For instance, say that paint already dry, and I will grab some more of that color and say I will create a little stain. The quality of the color of the watercolor is actually, even though it's transparent, each extra layer over the already existing one creates the extra density and extra darkness in this spot. So as you can see, it becomes darker twice. And this is what I actually do. I add more and more layers. Say this is the layer I have added. Then I will dry it, because each consecutive layer should be dry before applying next one. So dry. Then I will go back to grab more paint, apply more. You can see it gets darker and darker. Again, dry it. And again. So this way I build different level of density and I play with this, creating different effects. But for glazing, again, I use only stiff synthetic brushes. So to if we bring some summary about what I said, so for large washes we will use round soft brushes like this. Okay, depending on the size of your artwork, you will choose the you will pick the size of the brush. For the glazing, stiff synthetic brushes. For something universal or in between, imitation sable. See this very pointy one. So these are three main brushes that I use for each work that I am creating. Now, of course, there could be some extras, say exactly the same stiff brush but very fine tip for, of course, for something that like a fine work, for hairlines, you know, for signatures, whatever. Of course, we need something to have that, maybe for outlines. So, you know, yourself, this we need also. Now, of course, for specific tasks, you might need specific brushes. One of these brushes for myself is called calligraphy brush. They are very, very cheap. Well, so most of them. I didn't buy myself a very expensive one. I'm very happy with this one. I use it because of the nature of this brush. I use it for specific strokes. Mostly when you paint greeneries like leaves, grass, because it makes a really interesting shapes, like, you know, this like that. You can make something that looks like leaves, say on a bamboo, for instance. That brush, calligraphy brush, created for obviously calligraphy, but very often in watercolor you can use something specific brushes like this. Now this is it for general most used brushes, and I will change this paper once again, and I will show you the mop brush that I have for, say, large backgrounds and such tasks. Now, very often we are facing the task to create a seamless background or large areas. And at the same time, we might have some objects on the foreground that needs to be kind of painted around. Okay, so that is a task for a specific brushes. So we need kind of combine two qualities: quality of soft round brush, and at the same time it's supposed to have enough control over the edges. So this kind of hybrid brush. So say I will make kind of landscape. So say pretend this is the mountains. So I need to paint blue sky, seamless, and at the same time I need to have that edge clean and crisp, at least for the beginning. For these tasks I use this kind of brushes. To be honest, I have no idea for the scientific name, so some people call them mop brushes, but normally in the shops you will find them, with the rounded tip, but with the pointy tip, they kind of, I seen them. I think British company Pro Arte makes them, and again this one is also from Japan, Art Age. I use them. I have a couple of different sizes, of course, for different dimensions of my work. Say I would like to wet this area first, and then apply, blue paint, and at the same time control over the edge. So say it holds good amount of water, so you can have, and at the same time that tip, so it helps to work around the some even a very complex areas. The hair they made of also synthetic, very close. It feels like squirrel, but little bit stiffer. So that, let's imagine this is that's wet. So we need to bring some paint. Let's say ultramarine or whatever it is. Blue sky. I will wait. I have to give a little bit of time for water to soak in. We'll load the brush with material. Just a one tip: for large areas, when you're painting, always create enough of material, and from this point, to keep like consistency of material the same, I will try not to use extra water from the jar. I will be only using the stuff that's on my palette. And say we start painting. So we can even do some maybe imitation of clouds or something. So as you can see, it gives me enough control over the edges. I can even play with this to give my color paint some flow, maybe, you know. So that's basically it. As you can see, by having not huge amount of brushes, basically we have just, you know, few things, 5-6 brushes. They covering practically all the tasks that you need, even as a professional painter. No problem at all. As always, if you have any questions, you can ask me directly in the comments or in our Facebook group. I hope this information will help you on that stage when you're trying to choose something, when you're trying to pick the brushes. The general advice, I would say, most of the brushes by good manufacturers on the market will, you know, will make you happy. Go for something specific only when you've got the complete understanding of what you need. But I believe this quick, you know, video about brushes in general. I don't want to go too deep, like in the construction shapes and everything, but this is too much of knowledge. Very often we don't need that. Just stay with this information. You need 4 or 5 brushes. Only you have to decide on the quality of the brushes, and then gradually develop your you know, tools arsenal in the way that you painting. So that is the main idea supposed to be. So it looks actually nice. I might add something, maybe. Kind of looks cool. Nice. A little bit darker here. So cloud turned out really well. Okay, thank you for watching. Always I would like to hear your comments, suggestion. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. I will see you soon in the next video. Bye.